it's Haley from OneOnRabbits.com, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about preparing for emergency situations with rabbits. Obviously, this topic is very heavy in the news right now and all over social media, so I've gotten a lot of questions from people asking what they should do with their rabbits. Should they be concerned? Should they be stocking up? Things like that. So in today's video, I am just going to be showing you guys what I personally am doing in this situation. I am not an expert. I've never been through this. No one in the world has been through this who's alive. So yeah, I'm just gonna be showing you what I'm doing. You guys can take some tips if you find it interesting. So yeah. And I also want to point out that I'm not gonna say what's going on because I can get demonetized on YouTube for it. But everyone knows what I'm talking about, the current sickness in the world currently. So the first thing I'm going to be talking about is food. A lot of people have been asking me, what do they do about food? What if we run out of food for the bunnies? What are we going to do? So the first thing I want to say is stock up on hay. Rabbits' diets are 80 to 90% hay. So honestly, the biggest thing you should be concerned about is hay in this situation. So make sure you are ordering large quantities of hay, and because vegetables might be limited depending on where you live or like how bad the stores are sold out of things, you might want to get multiple varieties of hay just to be sure that during this time where your rabbit has limited vegetables, they are getting what they really need, which is like 80 to 90% hay of their diet. So I personally would recommend having at least 3 different types of hay on hand. I personally have Timothy hay, orchard grass hay, and oat hay. That's just what I always have on hand, so that's what I'm using. I've thought about maybe ordering, a couple more as well just to have on hand, but I will say places like Chewy.com, they are very back ordered right now. Not necessarily back ordered, but because so many people are ordering from them, it does take a lot longer for you to get your purchases than it used to. So definitely order your hay right now because it's gonna take a while to get to you. That's my first tip, is order your hay now. So the next thing everyone is asking me about is vegetables. So yes, vegetables are gonna be scarce depending on, where you live, what's going on, things like that. So because of that, I'm gonna be showing you some things that I am doing personally during this time. At the moment, I haven't run out of veggies yet in my store. Just keep in mind that during this time, if you are not able to get 3 different varieties of vegetables, or you aren't able to get 1 cup of veggies for every 2 pounds of body weight like is recommended, please know that just do the best you can. You don't have to do exactly what is ultimately the goal. We're just trying to figure things out, and I'll give you some tips on how to get some extra stuff in their diet. So yes, it's totally fine for a little short period of time for your rabbit to have less vegetables than normal. Obviously, that's not what you want to have long term, but we're just trying to get by at this point. Another thing is it's fine if you can only find, green leaf lettuce, and that's all you can find. Just do with what you can find. Feed what you can, things like that. You might have to branch out and try things that you've never tried before. So go online. I'll link a link in the description on some really good sites that recommend like all the veggies that are safe for bunnies. So you can go ahead and check out that link and see what veggies are safe to give and try some new things if that's the only things you can buy. I will say do not substitute leafy greens for hard-based vegetables. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Like, don't substitute it for like carrots and broccoli and things like that. Those are not necessities in a rabbit's diet, and if you were adding those in during this time, especially very suddenly, that's going to cause a lot of abdominal distress, things you do not want during this time. Also, rabbits should never have more than a tablespoon of those types of veggies per day. So you do not want to be like shoving those in their diet or anything like that right now. Yeah, those types of veggies are not required in a rabbit's diet. They're considered treats, so definitely do not replace their leafy veggies with things like that. Okay, now that I've done talking, I'm gonna go ahead and show you some things that I've been doing the past week to kind of prepare. All right, so the first thing I have are lettuce stumps. I don't know what you would call it. Basically, these are just heads of lettuce that I've been able to purchase at the store, and you can actually regrow your lettuce that you've purchased from the store. But you cut the head of lettuce off 2 inches below the stump or above the stump, and then you place it in a small amount of water, like this. Put it near a window that gets lots of sunlight, even though it's raining currently here. Milo, can you get off, please? And over time, it does start to grow new leaves from the center of the head of lettuce. Just keep in mind that you want to change the water often, and also check the bottom of your lettuce, because this can get rotten. Because obviously this isn't the ideal way to grow lettuce. It does work, but sometimes it can get rotten in here, so you want to make sure you're changing the water and that you're checking that. So basically all you do is you take your lettuce, and this one is kind of not ideal. I should have cut it off right when I bought it, not after I'd plucked all the leaves off of it, but it still could work. So you want to go 2 inches above where the end of the stalk is, but because I've peeled so much like leaves off, I'm actually probably going to go more like 3 inches up, and you just cut it across like that. And then you're going to find a little dish and put, you know, just a little bit of water on it and set it by a window, and that's basically what you do. Ooh, excuse me, Milo. So the next thing I personally decided to do is start a garden. Obviously gardens will take months before they're even that usable, but again, we have no idea how long this thing is gonna last, and I just wanted to be extra prepared. So I just went on Amazon and grabbed a couple of items that I thought would be useful since I am currently quarantined. I'm considered at a slight risk for complications for this current illness. So I'm not allowed to leave my house. So I went on Amazon and I got some peat pot trays, which are just like seed starter trays. I've never used these, but figured I'd give them a try. And then I went and I purchased, I already opened this, but I have some seeds in here. I got all organic seeds. Then I went ahead and bought some dirt, and I didn't even know Amazon sold dirt, but apparently they do. And I got this stuff called black gold. Oh, it's a product of Canada. If you guys saw last year's video of me gardening, you'll know that this is gonna be a disaster. So I'm gonna tilt the camera down and kind of show you guys how I'm gonna be planting all this. Again, this might not work. I might completely fail and kill everything, but you know, I am trying my best. Okay, now that I've finished that, I'm gonna go ahead and look at my seed packets. The ones that I got were kale, green leaf lettuce, red leaf lettuce. We've got thyme, basil, sage, oregano, and cilantro. These all came in like a herb packet. It came in this thing. Unable to get the proper amount of veggies, a lot of people are wondering, what do they do? Do they supplement with pellets even though their rabbits don't normally eat pellets? Or will they be fine without it? So this is the main question I've been getting asked because a lot of my followers do feed pellet-free diets, which is something I strongly recommend. So please, 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 please do not put your rabbits on pellets during this time. The reason for that is, one, pellets cause a ton of gut issues on their own. So if you are drastically adding them back into their diet during this time when vets are limited and emergency vets are limited, that is a disaster waiting to happen. Diet changes in themselves cause a lot of GI issues, and pellets or processed food especially, because if your rabbit is not used to eating that and all of a sudden you throw that into their diet, all of a sudden they have these pellets that move twice as slow through their GI system as veggies or hay would, and that's going to cause a lot of GI slowdown, which is why I don't recommend feeding pellets in the first place. But especially if you add it back in drastically, that is going to cause a big shock to your rabbit system. It could cause them to have GI slowdown, causing GI stasis or GI upset. That is the last thing you're gonna want during this time of limited vets and things like that. So no, do not add pellets back into your rabbit's diet. The thing you're gonna wanna do is think about rabbits in the wild. During the winter, they are very limited to fresh greens, but they still survive. And that is because rabbits survive on roughage. That's why 85 to 90% of their diet is hay. Hay is considered a roughage, which is what keeps their GI system moving, and they get 90% of their nutrients from hay. So it's not like there's much else that they really need. Things you can add in to supplement during this time of limited veggies are more roughage that they can eat. This would include things like sticks, willow, dried grasses like seagrass mats, hay mats, things like that. These are toys that your rabbits can use to eat. Rabbits in the wild eat a lot of bark. They eat a lot of sticks, things like that in the winter. So this is not an unnatural thing to happen to your rabbit if they were in the wild, to not have greens for a little bit of time. But obviously, of course, still try your hardest to find greens at the store. But if you are having limited amounts, these are things that you can use to supplement. So I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple of products that I am using in case you guys are interested. So I'll be right back. So a couple of roughage items that you could add in are toys, and a lot of the toys found on my shop, 101rabbits.com, are extremely natural. They're all natural. I don't put anything on there that I would not feed my rabbits. So everything's completely edible for your bunny to eat, and they're very roughage based. So this is a willow ball. It's made out of willow. So rabbits love to eat the bark of this, and so it's very nutritious and it adds roughage to their diet. So that's a good choice. I've got a ton of different willow toys, willow rings, willow cubes, willow balls, things like that. I also have these cute little willow baskets that you can fill with hay and herbs. Herbs are another good thing you could do during this time if you have dried herbs. I'm going to try to get some dried herbs back up on my shop. I am out of them currently, but I do have more that I can make up for you guys. So I'm going to try to get those out very soon. But willow baskets are great. You can add like little hay in there with treats or like herbs, things like that. So those are a couple good willow items that your rabbit could chew on. Some other things that rabbits really like are grass mats. These are made out of seagrass, which is a completely edible material for your rabbit. It has a bunch of texture on it that your rabbit can chew and destroy. This provides a lot of enrichment as well as, you know, roughage to their diet. I also have like seagrass bowls. These are the mini ones. You can fill them with hay, herbs, treats, things like that. That can be super fun for your bunnies. There's been times in the past where, you know, I've run out of veggies and I didn't have a nightly salad for my bunnies because I needed to go out and purchase them the next morning. So on those rare occasions where I ran out of veggies and didn't have one for one of their feedings, I would fill a little bowl like this or like a little basket full of treat hay, which is like hay they don't get very often. And then I would sprinkle it with herbs and then like a tiny little bit of dried fruit, and the rabbits go crazy over it. So that is a really good like thing to do, especially if you normally feed veggies more often and you kind of can't for a little bit. That's a really great option. I have a lot more toys that I haven't even shown here on my online shop, 101rabbits.com, that you can check out. So you can go ahead and check out that if these things are interesting to you or if it's something you want to do during this time. So that's basically it for this diet portion. I honestly think that now that it's springtime, we're not going to have a ton of issues with veggies because a lot of local farms are going to start growing things, and either they'll be available in stores or possibly you could go to local farms and purchase things. So the next thing I am doing to prepare is getting medication on hand. So for those of you guys who have rabbits who take medication, you're gonna wanna go ahead and refill those at this time, just in case, you know, I don't know if pharmacies will shut down or whatever. You just wanna make sure that you have enough on hand. So I went ahead and picked up some Adequin. That cat behind me is on Adequin, as well as my rabbit Lulu. So I wanted to go ahead and stock up. So this is a 2-pack of Adequin, so that should last me a little bit. And then I didn't actually mean to purchase this because I already have another bottle, but this is Meloxicam. So Meloxicam is really great to have on hand because it's a really good pain medication if your rabbit was to go into GI stasis. So I have this on hand because Lulu has arthritis, so I am prescribed Meloxicam to give to her whenever I feel like she needs it. So I accidentally had this on like repeat shipping, which is like where they send you it once a month, and I didn't need it this month because I have like a full bottle. So I have 2 bottles of Meloxicam now. The other thing I have is a bag of sub-Q fluids. So it's a bag of lactated ringers that you can use to give your rabbit fluids under the skin, and this is really, really helpful if your rabbit was to go into GI stasis. Basically, when you go to the vet, they're gonna give you sub-Q fluids for your bunny, Meloxicam for pain. Sometimes they'll give you a pain injection if your rabbit's really in pain, which I don't have pain injections on hand, and some sort of gut motility drug, which I am going to be using Cisapride, but I just ordered it from the pharmacy, so it hasn't shipped to my house yet, but it should be here in the next couple of days. Cisapride is a medication that helps stimulate the gut, keep the gut moving, and get it moving when your rabbit's in stasis. Not every vet uses Cisapride. My vet personally does. Some vets use other medications or don't use it at all. I find it's really helpful with my rabbits, so that's what I use. So the reason I am preparing so much for a GI stasis episode is because my rabbit emergency vet closed. I believe they're back open now, but only for life-threatening cases. So I'm not sure, you know, if GI stasis would necessarily be life-threatening depending on how severe the case was, but because my emergency vet shut down, that means if any of my rabbits get GI stasis on a weekend or at night, I can't take them to the vet because they're closed, because there was a lot of sicknesses or illness going around that it's at a vet school, so it was going around the vet school, so they had to close the entire school down. So yeah, I have no emergency vet, so I called my vet and I said, hey, I need to be prepared for an emergency, and I have a good enough relationship with my vet where she feels comfortable giving me medication to give to my bunnies because my rabbits have had stasis so many times, and she trusts that I know what I'm doing. So that's a really important thing, is to have a vet that knows you really well. Go to your yearly exams. Go in when your rabbit is sick. Go to the same vet. If your rabbit vet remembers you, they're gonna trust you in situations like this and give you the supplies you need to keep your rabbit safe. So the other thing that I have on hand is critical care. I keep this in my freezer, and I actually already had this. Like, I didn't stock up for any reason. Last time my rabbits had GI stasis, I just bought a bunch because I was going through it really fast, and yeah, so now I have these, I think they're like almost 1 pound bags of critical care. I have 3 of them, so that would definitely last me quite a while. You can buy these on Amazon. Hopefully they're not out of stock, but I'll leave a link in the description. This is a force-feeding medication that you can give your rabbits if they stop eating food in the case of GI stasis. So I have that on hand, and I keep it in my freezer because it doesn't go out of date then. So I just go ahead and put it back in the freezer. So that's what I'm doing for medication-wise. I just refilled them all so that I have them all on hand if something were to happen. Obviously, I mean, I hope nothing happens, but I want to be prepared if something, you know, emergent comes on. I want to be able to have the tools that I need to treat my rabbits until my regular vet opens up during the week. So my current vet is still open and still taking patients, which is great. They are taking precautions and, you know, I think they're practicing social distancing, things like that. But I'm really glad that my vet is still open so that during the week, if something goes wrong, I can always call them and they can help me out. So that is really good. One thing I do want to touch on, because I know a lot of people are going to wonder this, is if rabbits can get this illness that is going around. The answer is no. Rabbits aren't known to contract human illnesses. I believe they can get like maybe bacterial type based things, but obviously this is viral, so it's not something that they're gonna get. The CDC has also come out saying there's no evidence based that it can be contracted to any household pets, cats, dogs. Rabbits have never been known to catch any sort of viral illness from humans. This is not something you need to be concerned about, so I just wanted to put that in there because I know a lot of people would probably be freaking out and wondering if their rabbits can get it. So don't worry, no, they're not gonna get it. Practice social distancing, stay home, don't allow friends to come over, don't allow anyone to come over, stay 6 feet apart from people, no physical contact, and you'll be fine. Yeah, I hope this video was helpful. I don't know what I'm doing, no one knows what they're doing, but these are just some things I personally have done to prepare. Leave your tips down below on what you guys are doing, and yeah, that's basically it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys very soon on a new video. Bye! You guys, am I really dark? I feel like it's really dark. Milo, if you're gonna be gagging, get off the counter.